In the United Kingdom, our problem is not just with open borders and mass migration. We are now giving away free UK citizenship to legal and illegal migrants without even checking their background. In this deep dive video, we're going to explain the latest policy decision from the disgusting socialist Prime Minister Keir Starmer. Keir Starmer's cabinet have now been accused of being the soft touch in Europe. Why? Because they've decided to repeal and completely destroy the laws that were brought in by the Conservative government previously that made it almost impossible for illegal migrants to become UK citizens. Keir Starmer said, no, it's probably best to make them UK citizens. In the first half of 2024, more than 1,300 illegal migrants were caught falsifying information about their ages. At present, 2 Home Office staff assess migrants from small boats' arrival on their physical appearance and demeanor. Yeah, I mean, that's already a problem anyway, trying to rely on the bureaucrats to check people's ages and backgrounds, but that's not even happening properly. But all that is going to go away because Keir Starmer says, don't worry about it. If they self-identify as 17, even if they're 35, it's okay. We will believe all migrants. The Border Security, Asylum and Immigration Bill, which was published last week and this week actually going forward by the Home Office, will reverse many of the Tories' previous attempts to stop the boats. That includes formally repealing the Rwanda deportation scheme. Now, we will get back to the issue with the Rwanda plan, which has now officially been scrapped, and it wasn't really the perfect plan anyway. But before we do that, this comes after close to 37,000 people crossed the English Channel illegally in 2024, in what was the deadliest year on record, with at least 78 deaths at the sea, as the criminal gangs and obviously people smugglers crammed ever more people onto the flimsy boats. This comes at the same time as net migration in the United Kingdom reaching close to 1 million, both in 2023 and 2024, which means 2025 is going to be accelerating massively. Again, that's just one problem. That's about mass migration and open borders. But let's not forget about the main topic of this video, free UK citizenship to everyone. But why is this actually happening, and why is this coming from this specific Prime Minister? Well, Keir Starmer has a certain track record as a technical lawyer and as someone who was a political activist and a lawyer before he became a politician. Keir Starmer as Prime Minister and his current Attorney General actually fought very hard a few years ago for a terror suspect to come to the United Kingdom. Yeah, this wasn't really about vulnerable refugees and innocent civilians. This is actually about the Islamists. People like Keir Starmer fought very hard to bring him into the UK. Yes, the Prime Minister and his Attorney General fought and campaigned for Mr. Al-Jeddah to come back to the United Kingdom, who was arrested by Western forces in the Middle East in 2004, suspected of taking part in attacks on UK-US coalition forces at the time. He was suspected of associations with Islamist groups operating in Iraq following the invasion by America and Britain. But you know, the actual Islamist, the terrorist, he was the real victim because his legal team, who at the time, yes, was the Attorney General and the Prime Minister, who's obviously now Keir Starmer, tried their best to argue that his detention was actually unlawful, citing international laws and even, of course, the European Convention on Human Rights articles to say, hey, terrorist lives matter. But again, this is part of the whole wider package to ruin the United Kingdom and British national security. For example, when it goes to the topic of controlling the borders, when it comes to the illegal migrants right now, we did mention the Rwanda plan. The Rwanda plan was not perfect, it was a bit gimmicky, but it's not really just about bringing it back. It's about how Starmer ended the Rwanda plan. Well, in case you don't know, the Rwanda plan cost the United Kingdom £270 million. Obviously, not one single deportation actually happened to Rwanda. We gave all that money to the Rwandan government. When Starmer cancelled the plan, we had an opportunity to ask for a refund, to get our money back from Rwanda. But Starmer said, it's okay. Let them keep it. It's only £270 million, which again makes sense because Starmer always takes the side of the foreign side and the enemy and those who hate the UK. It's not really just about the other governments. It's to be said, he's been fighting very hard on behalf of Islamists, on behalf of the far left, and on behalf of anybody that hates this kingdom. Back in 2020, Keir Starmer signed a letter opposing the deportation of foreign criminals from the United Kingdom. That included Ernesto Elliott, who later committed murder after his deportation was blocked by Keir Starmer. Now, as you know, the job of the public office holders, whether it is the Prime Minister or the opposition leader, obviously in 2020, Keir Starmer was in opposition, their job is to protect the British people. Their job is to protect the Constitution. But every single time we see a decision coming from the socialist left, it harms the people of this kingdom. It also prioritizes the others. Again, as you guys remember, Keir Starmer supported the return of the ISIS bride, Shamima Begum, to the United Kingdom, a position that has been widely debated. These actions have been used to question Starmer's judgment on matters of national security and immigration. As a reminder, watch this.
I think the decision by the Home Secretary was the wrong decision, and I think it was a rushed decision. And I think it left out of account the interests of the newly born child who's tragically died.
But again, it's not really just about Keir Starmer, because Starmer is the product of what's been happening to this country for the past few decades. A lot of things go back to 1997, when Tony Blair became Prime Minister. Yes, in 2004, under Tony Blair's premiership, the United Kingdom granted unrestricted access to workers from new EU countries, mostly from the Eastern European countries, leading to a significant increase in migration. Starmer has decided to bring back this vision. Now, over the last day or two, there's been again some opposition to Keir Starmer's policies, ironically from the Conservative Party, who they themselves actually saw a massive increase in migration and the rise in multiculturalism. Somehow the Tories are now very much in favour of border security. But let's go to Chris Philp, the Shadow Cabinet Minister, and see what he said. Yes, Chris Philp has accused Keir Starmer of being weak and feeble, saying Starmer is a weak Prime Minister. He's weak on borders and is weak when it comes to protecting our borders, our children and our people. I will fight tooth and nail against this craven capitulation to illegal migrants and people smugglers when the bill comes to Parliament. Again, as a reminder, Chris Philp, who's saying this, was in fact a government minister in the Home Office under the previous government. Now let's see the reaction from people on social media, specifically on X, when it comes to Keir Starmer's idiotic policy decision. Hazel Appleyard said on X, "Why does he hate our country?" That's a fair question. Well, in response to this, Basil the Great said, "Because he's a communist." Yeah, can't really blame him, can we? We also had this from Simon saying, "What an absolute effing joke. So much for smashing the gangs. Now it's an open door for the riffraff of the world." But again, Simon, it's not just about open borders. It's free UK citizenship to everybody, legal or illegal. Alexandra Danman said, "Disgusting man, just a lapdog for the World Economic Forum intent on destroying us all." We also had this comment as saying, "This isn't going to end very well. There is no balance and there's no restrictions, which offers crime." But the problem is, if you complain about the rise of crime, then you're the bad guy, because that means you're a far-right football hooligan thug. And finally, this comment. "They are testing us at this point. Every day, something else terrible. What are the reasons behind these decisions?" Well, on that note, let me know your thoughts in the comment section. What do you think is the main reason? Do they actually hate us?